You have to move this pawn to the red square by only using standard chess movements. Like for example, this pawn can only go forward and it can never go backwards. You can't jump over any other pieces with this pawn, so you'd have to move the other pieces out of the way first. Like the rook can move up and down or side to side. If we move the rook down, we can move the bishops diagonally. We can't jump over any other pieces with them, and the only other rule in this is you cannot capture other pieces. And it doesn't matter what color square you move the piece to. Like this knight here can move 2 spaces and then 1 space down. But the trick is, how do you get the pawn all the way over here if you can only move him forwards? Because when you get the pawn to this square here, you can actually promote it to the queen. To get the pawn and queen puzzle for yourself, go check out the link in our description. To start moving these pieces, we have to start with the rook over here and move him down 1. Now there are multiple ways you can do this. I'm going to start by moving the bishop diagonally. At this point here, I'm going to move this knight over here. Then we can move the bishop up top. Move this rook over. Next, we can move the bishop diagonally 1 space and move the rook up 1 space and also move the pawn up 1 space. Now we can get the bishop over here and move this rook down. Next, I can take this bishop and jump it over here. Then I can move this rook up. I'm actually going to take this knight and move it over here. Then I can move the bishop up top, move this rook up here. This rook can move over and the knight can jump over here. Now I can move the pawn forward 1 space. Next, I can take this knight and jump it over here. And then finally, I can move the rook over and move the pawn up and promote the pawn to a queen. I can now move the queen at any space I want on the board. I just can't jump over other pieces. So if I move the queen here, I can move this rook over here, and then I can move the knight up here. Now if I move this rook over here, I can move the queen down like this. Next, I can move this bishop over here, and this bishop can move up top. Then I can move this knight over here. Next, I can move this knight up here and move this knight over here. Next, I can jump this bishop over here. I move this rook over and move the queen over here. Next, I can take this knight and jump him here. Then I can move this rook up. This rook can also move up, and finally the queen to the red square. If you like the pawn equals queen chess puzzle, then you'll also want to check out this chess puzzle video right here.